Hi, it's Alex. I'm here with Dominic, and Dominic is a member of the Daily Business Hustle Mastermind. And the reason we're here today is, what is the reason, Dominic?
I made $16,720 last month in revenue.
Ooh, that's pretty good. And how much of that is profit approximately?
Around 70%.
Okay, that's good. That's a good profit margin. And the reason I'm excited about this is because you've only started as a freelancer last year. So before you joined the DBH Mastermind, you were a freelancer. Starting, I think, April last year is when you quit your
Correct,
job.
yes.
Yeah, and what happened after you quit your job? What did you start doing, and what kind of results were you getting?
I joined Upwork and I looked at like the different job postings and I found that there were a lot of website jobs actually. So I don't have a website. I have a developer background, but I'm not a website developer. So I started getting into that and applying for jobs on websites. And I basically made nothing in the first few months, working for like $5 an hour or something. Pretty
Yeah.
tough.
So I guess most freelancers, when they start, especially on places like Upwork, it's they assume, oh, well, everyone else seems to be making $5 an hour or something like that here. I guess that's normal. I'm just gonna start like that, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I was because I felt like it because I don't have a portfolio, and it was really hard to actually um, communicate that I know what I was doing to clients. That I was, yeah, getting lower and lower with my price to actually get on some projects.
Okay. And then eventually, after several months, you were starting to make something like two to maybe $3,000 a month as a freelancer, like that, right?
Yeah, I think it took actually half a year almost to get up to something like $15 an hour. Um, and then yeah, after a year, I started making like 2 to 3K per month, but it was still a lot of work.
Okay. So then 3 months ago, you joined the Daily Business Hustle Mastermind. And what happened then?
It basically it changed my whole approach and my mindset completely. I learned sales. I learned how to organize myself. I learned how to speak to clients and set expectations. Um, and I basically made the switch from being a freelancer to a business owner in a
Okay.
nutshell.
Let me just look at your numbers here. So, in your first month of the mastermind, of joining the mastermind, you went from making $2,000 to $3,000 a month as a freelancer to having your first $10,000 a month, and then you had a little
Yeah,
dip. You had a month with $6,000, and then your third month, that was August, that was last month, is $16,720, right?
right.
Okay. So, how much of the work are you forced to do yourself still, and how much of the work can you already outsource?
So on the new projects that we're actually getting, I try to do as less work as possible, and then focus on um, actually lead generation and sales, and still also project management. Um, so I try to do no development anymore at all. So less, around 10 to 20% is what I'm still involved in the projects, but most of it is handled by the people in my team.
Okay. And who are these people? Like, what do they do exactly? So, just to be clear, before you were basically getting a project, and then you sat down, stopped lead generation, and then you worked on a project for $2,000 to $3,000 a month
Yeah.
yourself. And then once the project was done, you went back to getting a client. That was before, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
And now you get clients, and that's most of your time is spent on that, and
Yeah,
most of the delivery, you, the vast majority of delivery actually is done by your team, right?
right.
Okay. Just making it super clear for people watching what's happening here. So, who did you find? Like, who are these people? Like, what do they do for you? Your freelance.
It actually took me quite some time to find qualified people. So I was I asked the designer that I was once working with on a freelance project if he can help me out to design my first project that I got for a client, and so that was my first team member basically, and Then I hired two front-end developers, and now just recently a back-end developer who is really good. So I actually I actually didn't use Upwork anymore to find people. That's where I started out. But then I just asked the people that were already in my team to recommend me somebody, interviewed them, and these people were just amazing. So the new backend developer that I just hired, he's doing an amazing job, and he's going to take away so much of the work that I still had to do.
Okay, interesting. And what are your plans now? So you've learned now how to close clients on the phone for higher ticket amounts, so not $15 an hour. You've learned how to outsource all in your first 3 months. You've learned how to delegate as well, like not just hire the people, actually get them to do the work and do it well enough up to your standards. So what's next? What are you gonna do now that you had a 16K month and most of the stuff is outsourced? What are the next steps?
Right. Right now, everything is still a little bit messy
Mhm.
and in a lot of different ways. So first of all, the project management is still too messy. Um, what I'm trying right now is I'm talking to my designer to kind of have a look and feel that is similar on all our projects that we're working on.
Mm.
Because then for my front-end developers, we can agree on having one framework that we work with and standardize our product. So that will reduce our cost, increase my profit margin, and speed up the development. So um, basically what I'm trying to do, we are standardizing our product so that we only use one framework and increase the similarities to, well, to,
Yeah.
as I said,
You're
reduce
standardizing
development
the
time.
offer essentially, right?
Sorry?
You're standardizing the offer so that it's
Yes,
easier for your team to deliver so that you can spend
exactly.
less time on hiring and training your team members, right?
Exactly. So that would be my first step, like very easy standardization to actually get some make it easier across projects to work on. Because right now, what they are doing, each of them is kind of having their own style of development, and if I have to work together, it makes things a bit messy because then they have to spend a lot of time to get to know the other developers' code, which is just a waste. So I'm trying to get them to have a have more commonality. So that's one step. And the next step would actually be to get somebody to manage the project so that I don't have to do that. Um, to take away some to talk to some clients, basically like an account project manager, so that he would talk to some of my clients if they have a change that we want to make, that he talks to the client and then gets it delivered correctly and communicated correctly to my developers.
Okay. And what would you say to other freelancers who are still back to where you were 3, 4 months ago, who are doing 2 to 3 thousand dollars a month, and maybe they're even wondering like, why am I even freelancing? I make less money here than in a job, right? So,
Yeah.
what would you tell to these people? What would you say to these people?
Um, join DBH for very good reasons, because when I left my job, I left it because I wanted to have um, well more freedom. I wanted to it wasn't exactly about the money at that time. I just felt like in my job, like I was spinning in a hamster wheel, and I wanted more freedom and travel. And I couldn't do that in my freelance career because I didn't know how to organize my day. I didn't know how to set up client expectations, and I really didn't know how to get new clients. Um, because of that, my day was very unstructured. I just lost so much time because clients pushed me around, and I didn't know. Sometimes I had too much work. Sometimes I had no work. It was very unstable income, and I couldn't, even though on paper it seemed like I was having a nice lifestyle. In fact, it was just crappy.
Hmm. So, what are the main mistakes you were making as a freelancer? Like, and let's not talk about general mistakes. Let's talk about how you were approaching business as a whole. Like, what are the mindsets that you had as a freelancer on a daily basis before when you were making 2 to 3 thousand hours?
For example, I got invitations on Upwork for projects, and clients were sending me like, "Hey, I need this website delivered," and they were like giving me requirements on what needs to get done, and then they put down some random budget, and I was like, "This doesn't make sense. I can't do it for that money." So I was just rejecting the project because I'm like, the budget is too low. Like, don't you? I was basically expecting the client to know that they know how much work it is, and I was rejecting so many projects um, because, yeah, I didn't. It didn't came to my mind that the client doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. A lot of beginners, so when they get into even stuff like freelancing, they assume that somehow the people who are hiring them know what they're talking about. While even a beginner usually knows more than the people that they're talking about.
Yeah.
Why is that, by the way? Like, why even why does a beginner even know more than someone who's been hiring freelancers for a while? Why is that the case? Is it because the recruiters are dumb, or like what happened there?
Um, it depends. I'm not sure what you mean. Like if he has more expertise on the I mean he has if you do you mean the freelancer always has more expertise than the client? Is that what you're saying?
No. So let me try again. So why do you think the people who are so why do you think a lot of freelancers think that the people who are making the posts, who are hiring the freelancer, why do you think a lot of freelancers think that these people are automatically above them or smarter or know what they're talking about? Why do
Um,
freelancers have this mindset?
Probably because from the environment that they came from, maybe at first, to actually having a boss and being told what to do too much. Um, and being still in that mindset because somebody's just posting something on the internet that they and actually looking for somebody to hire that they actually know what to do or what that involves. In my very first month when I started freelancing, I got two projects. One project was for a coaching company, and they paid me $300 to create their website, and it took me like 6 months to actually get paid for that project because they were so unresponsive. Yeah, it was like they treated me like so badly and like a slave. I needed the money so badly, and they were asking for more and more features and saying, "Oh yeah, this is the last thing we need. Um, can you can you do it?" And I basically had to. So and then I did it, and they just disappeared for 2 to 3 weeks, and then they came back with more work, and I just didn't get paid. And I had another project. It was just $75 for creating a new website, and it took me about 2 weeks to complete. And I sent the website over to the client and was waiting for his approval. But that was during the time where the US had this crazy storm. So my client actually didn't have any internet connection for 2 weeks. So then he came back. He approved the project, and then it also takes Upwork another like 5 days to actually pay you out the money. And at that point, I actually had no money at all anymore. My bank account was at zero, um, and I could actually not afford food anymore. Like I was basically fasting for 4 days because I was just hoping that my client would come back at some point and I would get paid. But yeah, couldn't afford food for 4 days, and then I was actually asking people to lend me some money so that I can, survive.
Okay, that's a pretty hardcore freelancing.
Yeah.
So, what would you do now? Like looking, this was how long ago was this, by the way?
um, pretty much last year. Like,
Oh, okay.
yes, like 12 months ago. Yeah.
So okay, so if this started to happen, not the being broke part, but the client treating you that way now, what would you do? So a client, you get a new client,
Right.
and it's like, oh well, let's just add a bunch of new features. You're gonna work for free on those features, and then you're gonna wait for X amount of months to get paid. What would you start started to happen.
Um, so yeah, saying that doesn't happen anymore. I'm very glad it doesn't happen anymore. So because I'm setting expectations right, if a client would tell me that, I would be like, what are you even talking about? Like, um, more work, like it doesn't even make sense. And if a client, usually sometimes they try and go like, can we also have this? And it is, I'm confident enough now that I say, you know what, this is going to require more money, like straight away. Because if they have done it once with you and you let them get away with it, even if it's something very small, um, you need to bill them for it. Otherwise, they will just do it over and over again, and yeah, frame it differently. So even if it's something very small and tiny, if it's at the beginning of our relationship, I need to make it clear that if it's more work, I need to pay for it.
Okay. Yeah, I guess this is the main reason why guys who try alone to build a business, that they have a very steep learning curve because of issues like this. I also had this, and lots of guys have had this who started alone. And then I guess,
Yeah.
of course, you join a mastermind, you join a community of guys who figure this out, and they're like, "What? No, of course you don't do freelance." And it's like, oh, I don't have to make $3,000 a month. Okay, and then you actually learn some sales skills, some project management skills, outsourcing skills, and boom, you have yourself an actual agency instead of being,
Yeah.
you know.
I wish I had joined DBH so much earlier because I mean I was eating just toast for almost half a year because I could not afford anything else. Like I was working 16-hour days, just eating toast and making no money.
That's
That's
that's that's good. That's a good.
yeah.
That's a very good one. I used to eat like canned tuna with like rice, and
Yeah.
my place was actually just a student dorm, so I couldn't cook it properly. So I bought like a $20 little stove, like a student dorm electric stove, like that. And I was making my tuna and like canned tuna on it with like fucking rice and eating that. That was $20, 20 euros or $20 per week in food only. By the way, it's the cheapest food you can eat, probably.
Exactly, yes.
But
Yeah, I wish it was a very good life lesson. I'm kind of glad that I had it, but it didn't have. I mean, yeah, I wish I had joined DBH a bit sooner. Also, I actually started to create a couple of businesses before I even left my job. So I tried, to build it as a side hustle, and I had like even I tried dropshipping, and had different business ideas, and I created like websites. And for half a year, I was just working my 8-hour job, and then working another like 4 hours after work, trying to create a business, and I spent around $15,000 on ads, and I made no money. I made no money from it because I had no idea what I was doing. No idea.
that drop shipping life,
Yeah.
there's such better business models out there.
It's because as a software developer, you are so arrogant because you go on the internet and you're like, I have figured it out. I know how to develop a website. Like, why would I need to hire somebody else to do it? And of course, like Facebook is easy, right? I can do Facebook ads, like no problem. I can do Google ads.
Yeah.
And you are so arrogant. And yeah.
Interesting. This is all going on the internet. All right, so you've suffered enough recounting your horror stories, Dominique. I think everyone watching this is very grateful because they're like, wait a second, so I want to avoid that as well. Okay, but anyway, thanks. I'll see you in the mastermind. For anyone
Sure.
watching, if you have
Thanks for having me, Alex.
sorry.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. And for everyone watching, if you have any questions, there's a button below. If you're in a similar situation and if you need help, just press the button, and I'll personally, for as long as I can, I'll personally reply to every single question. Okay, so make use of that because probably I can't do it forever. So see you next time, and see you in the mastermind, Dominic.
Bye bye.